new jobs, especially in high-demand careers like healthcare. The state's recent monthly economic report showed Kansas created 14,000 jobs in the last year, and unemployment is 3.3%. The Kansas News Service reports the state's total labor force dropped from a high of 1.521 million in 2009 to 1.479 million in July. Kansas Labor Secretary Delia Garcia says the state is in good shape economically, but leaders need to think ahead to attract more workers. An Anderson County High School freshman has made a name in the shooting world. Addison Smith swept all three categories of competition in the Western Heritage Project 4-H shooting contest held in Winton, California. The 4-H Western Heritage program is an immersion course in Old West study coupled with one of the fastest growing shooting sports disciplines in the world, Western action shooting. Competitors fire replica Western firearms from the 1860 to 1899 period, dressed the part in Old West regalia. The competitions entail scoring on 100 rounds of rifle, 100 rounds of pistol, and 25 rounds of shotgun shooting, which totals half the competitor's overall score. Addison won top honors in each of the three categories, racking up the highest possible score to win the top hand designation for the intermediate age class. Congratulations, Addison. An Ohio video game player upset about an online bet has been sentenced to 15 months in prison for recruiting another man to make a bogus emergency call in 2017. Tyler Viner was sentenced to 15 months in prison, then 2 years supervised probation after pleading guilty to 1 count of conspiracy and 1 count of obstructing justice. The case involved 20-year-old Tyler Barris calling Wichita police and reporting a hostage situation at an address in Wichita. Viner and Shane Gaskell of Wichita got into a dispute while playing Call of Duty online. Viner then asked Tyler Barris in Los Angeles to swat Gaskell. Police responding to the call shot Andrew Finch when he came to the door at Gaskell's old address. Barris was sentenced to 20 years in prison after pleading guilty to more than 50 felonies nationwide. The exclusive KOFO Weather Center forecast: tonight partly cloudy, the low down to 69. Wednesday, sunshine with a high of 90. I'm Don Elliott, KOFO News.
Stay tuned for the following special presentation from KOFO 1220 and 103.7 FM. KOFO, your sports source for East Central Kansas, welcomes you to this edition of the Kent Kessinger Show, live from Pizza Time in downtown Ottawa. It's our weekly chat with Ottawa University head football coach Kent Kessinger, and your weekly chance to enjoy food and drink specials at Pizza Time during the show. The Kent Kessinger Show on KOFO is brought to you by State Farm Insurance Agent Keith King, Ottawa University, and Pizza Time. Now, live from the KOFO Sports Booth, here's your host, Bob Johnson.
Well, hello. Welcome into this week's Pizza Time Kent Kessinger Show, live from Pizza Time, because where else would we be on a Tuesday night during the football season?
Pizza Time.
That's the only place to be.
That is the only place to be.
And the person who's right in front of me speaking with that voice of God is head coach Kent Kessinger, and he's my Crockett to my Tubbs.
The thundering voice, I guess.
Thundering voice.
I'm losing a little bit of it right now. There's a lot of allergies going around.
Okay, so it wasn't from yelling.
No.
I was going to say the allergies have
been pretty. That would have been earlier in fall camp.
Oh, okay.
Now it's straight on pollen and all that other stuff.
Just straight up pollen?
Yeah, pollen of any sorts. I think it's ragweed or something out there. It's pretty thick.
Yeah, I've been struggling with that a little bit myself this week. It's I feel a little stuffy.
Yeah, no kidding.
A little stuffy. Well, how'd the bye week treat you?
It was good. It was well needed. We had to get a couple more guys cleared through the NAI eligibility center, in which we did. So that helped out quite a bit. And then it's with our depth, especially at the beginning of the year, because of the eligibility center. We needed to get a few guys healed up, and mostly we're pretty good to go. We still got a couple guys that are maybe questionable for this weekend, but we'll see.
Well, since you don't have to officially put out an injury chart,
Right.
you can go all Bill Belichick and say everyone's questionable.
Everybody is questionable.
I mean, honestly, we're all.
If they just come to practice, they'd see that anyway. So,
I mean, honestly, we're all day to day.
yeah, everybody's day to day, definitely.
When I get up every day, the injury report says day to day.
It's competition every day.
So during the bye week, you had a chance to rest, as you mentioned. But what kind of things did you work on? Were you working on maybe trying to pep up that run game just a little bit?
Definitely trying to pep up the run game. Yeah, we're definitely taking a look at what we were able to do in the first game, find the positives, try to continue to accentuate those as we went through this last week, but then also really try to bring some of the things that we thought we didn't do as well up to a competitive level that I think will help us when we get into the games, and one of those things was the rushing. I think another thing was just our overall, football game shape, getting a little bit of extra conditioning in this last week. I think that helped us, hopefully will help us as we go through the rest of the season.
Was it more of working with the offensive line this week and making sure blocking assignments were sound, or was it maybe a little bit of working with running backs to try to find the right place, the right hole?
From that standpoint, running the ball standpoint, it's a little both. It's running backs, being able to make cuts off of blocks, but also setting up blocks, helping the offensive lineman, and it's the offensive line continuing to work together, and so they have an understanding of what they're supposed to do. And then we throw in the fact that against a Sterling team is going to be a 34 front. They're going to bring a lot of different pressure schemes. They're going to move their front quite a bit, so a lot of slants and that sort of deal. It's being able to understand and then make those movements that they do be something that's in our favor.
Well, you bring that up, and maybe it's a bunny trail here, but is there any concern with that, considering that you've only seen really 1 week of live action? You have a bye week, and then you get a team like Sterling, who is athletic and throws that 34 front in front of you. Is that a cause for concern to making sure that you have that line gelled properly?
It's not as much of a concern when it came to scheme, and actually if you could pick 2 bye weeks to have, we only get one really this year, but I would have picked to have a bye week going into the Sterling game, and then I would later pick one going into the Bethel, because Sterling running their 34 front and all the pressure schemes that they're going to do, and then going to Bethel from the defensive perspective and being able to work against that option style of offense that they run with the flex bone and that sort of deal. So those would be the 2 weeks. So obviously we got the first one now, and we'll have to make do when we get to that week, Bethel week. But having a week before and having 2 weeks to prepare for Sterling and the pressure stuff, scheme wise, seeing them twice. Because that they weren't preparing for us when they were preparing for McPherson. They were thinking about McPherson. So they'll have 4 or 5 days, and we'll have had 2 weeks to kind of see some of their stuff.
From week 1 to week 2, was there a lot of difference in the film that you saw with Sterling?
They played significantly more man-to-man in the second game against McPherson. And I think that they, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sitting in their meeting rooms, but I think that that's something that they felt that they were a lot more comfortable in after the second game, and they did a pretty good job of it. So I imagine that we'll see a lot of man coverage. We'll see a lot of different pressure schemes and that sort of deal from their defense. And so that was one thing that I noticed. And then from the offensive perspective, their offensive perspective for our defense, it's just, again, you can tell when it comes to time that they want to make a play, they put the ball in their quarterback's hands and let him do stuff. So they let Cedric Phillips, make plays. So they did a really good job of that against McPherson, and they did a good job of containing Ed Crouch down there who's a running quarterback.
We'll talk a little bit more about this Sterling offense here in just a bit. I want to wrap back to the bye week, and as you were able to watch 2 weeks worth of Sterling video and see improvements and changes, do you feel like that this team took a step forward during the bye week?
Yeah, I think we did. I think today was kind of the telltale. We did a little bit heavier Monday practice that we would normally do. Not really that much. We just spent a little bit more time going through some things. And I think today we saw some of the fruits of last week. And now it's just, again, tomorrow is going to be another just make sure that we're going in the right place type thing, and then polish on Thursday and Friday. But it allows us, what it does also allow us to do is allows us to back off a little bit this week. So we got a little bit more banging in. We got a little bit more conditioning in last week. This week we can kind of pull back a little bit, do the stuff that we need to do with tempo, get in and out of practice, and get the reps that we need, but then hopefully get the guys' legs back underneath them, because the last 2 days, yesterday was excruciatingly hot. I think it was 101 when it came to the outdoor feels like temperature, and today it was 97, 99 or something like that. So it's a little muggy, so getting them to back off a little bit, getting them off the field, hopefully that puts us in a better spot.
Were you in the swamp or on the field?
We were in the swamp on Monday, and we were on the turf today, and we'll be back in the swamp tomorrow. So it'll be a rough one. Wednesdays is always our toughest, most physical practice of the week. So might back off a little bit on the physicality part and just get the reps in. But it's going to be a warm one for sure.
Do you, when it gets to be as warm as it has been, especially this week, do you fear a possibility of more injuries during practice?
We try to do some things in order to alleviate that. Like on Monday, for example, we were in what we call shells, so helmets and shoulder pads, and we start off with conditioning, and so we didn't even have them in their helmets and shoulder pads at the beginning of practice. We just went out there in our practice jerseys and shorts and did our conditioning. Once conditioning was done, then we put the helmets and shoulder pads on so we could bang a little bit, within our drills and be a little bit more physical within our drills. Today we were in shorts with thigh boards and helmets and shoulder pads. So we 1 day a week, other than game day, is the only day that we full pad out. So we try to do things in order to cut down on the excessive heat that you could have. And then that way, hopefully, it keeps them focused, because when you get unfocused is usually when injuries in practice occur.
We're going to take our first break of the evening right here. We've got much more to cover during the Pizza Time Kent Kessinger Show. I want to remind everybody, Friday night, though, we will have football back on the air as Ottawa High will be taking on Paola. You'll hear the game at 7 o'clock with the kick. The Rob Hedrick pregame show will start at 6:40 following Friday Night Lights, and you'll hear it here on 103.7 FM KOFO and on 1220 and also on KOFO.com. So you'll want to stick around for that. But stick around here. We're here till the top of the hour at Pizza Time. Come down and hang out. Have some of the best pizza in town. See Coach Kessinger. I mean, what else could you ask for on a Tuesday night? You're listening to the Pizza Time Kent Kessinger Show on 1220 and 103.7 FM KOFO.
Pizza Time at 208 South Main in historic downtown Ottawa is very proud to be a locally owned and operated part of the community. From supporting our schools and charities to backing our sports teams, Pizza Time has been serving the area in more than just pizza since 1985. Dine in, carry out, or free delivery. Remember, Pizza Time is here to continue to serve up the area's favorite pizza. Look us up and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or just call us at 242-TIME. You know what time it is? It's always Pizza Time.
Let's face it, auto insurance can be confusing. Do you know your comprehensive from your collision, your no-fault from liability, your premium from your deductible? After an accident is no time to find out that your definition of full coverage is actually different from what your policy says. Let local State Farm Insurance Agent Keith King explain auto insurance in terms you can understand.
I'm State Farm Insurance Agent Keith King. Let's work together to be sure your vehicle has the coverage you need. Call and schedule an appointment today at 242-9435. Stop by my office at 111 South Main in Ottawa, or visit online at keithking.net. it.
I came here to run cross country, and it ended up being way different than I thought it was going to be. It's unlike anything I've ever been a part of to be on the team. Everyone is so completely different. There are people you never thought you'd be friends with, nothing like your outside friends, but somehow you all click to be the same and have the same interests, but yet completely different. Everyone's always there for you. It's not just about running. Friendships and families like they're your siblings when you're away from home. That's what it means to be a part of the Braves cross country and track team, to be a family.
Be a Brave. Visit ottawa.edu.
Crest Gum sensitivity turns your outs to ah.
You like your drinks nice and cold, but the sensitive teeth thing is getting old. Yeah. Time to say goodbye to the pain, cause having sensitive teeth is just so lame.
Crest Gum sensitivity turns your outs to ah. Hey!
80% of sensitivity starts at the gum line. Treat it at the source with Crest Gum and Sensitivity. Crest. Healthy, beautiful smiles for life.
Tired of opening your closet and never finding what you want to wear? We can help. Stitch Fix is a personal styling service that matches you with your own stylist. Someone who listens to what you love and delivers the best clothes for you right to your door. With Stitch Fix, you'll get to discover new styles, new brands, and new looks to fit your unique shape and your budget. Discover the stylists and styles that work for you at StitchFix.com. Personal styling for women, men, and kids. StitchFix.com. Personal styling for everybody.
I can't believe it. That Gerald is presenting the quarterly budget report with finger puppets?
Look, here comes a 1.7% decrease in fixed overhead. Hello, everybody.
No, I can't believe how easy it was to save hundreds of dollars on my car insurance with Geico.
Who are you? The projected increase in organic Q3 revenue. Hooray!
Believe it, Geico could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
If you have frequent heartburn, take control of it with Prilosec OTC instead of stashing antacids everywhere, like in your junk drawer, buried under old batteries and hotel pens, or in your purse, hiding in the one pocket you won't check. You even have antacids on your nightstand, which are very hard to see in the dark. It's time you stopped stashing antacids and started taking Prilosec OTC. 1 pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn.
It's possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days, not for immediate relief.
I mean, I could be wrong, but, oh, hey, we're back. We were in the middle of talking during the break, but...
About Tony Romo.
About Tony Romo. So we're back here at Pizza Time, where we'll be till the top of the hour. And you're listening to us on 1220 and 103.7 FM KOFO. I'm Bob Johnson. Head coach Kent Kessinger is here with me. And we're talking OU Braves football from Coach's Corner. Right here where we get to see everybody walk by.
Yeah, walk in, walk out, walk by. All the walks.
It's amazing the kind of gestures we get. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
All been positive thus far.
Yes, all positive.
There's early in the season.
Number one.
Early in the broadcast season.
Exactly. And we are Denmark's favorite show. So
yes.
So
I've been watching them. They've been doing a lot of landscaping down here, cleaning up some of the corners and stuff. Doing a good job. Yeah. Looking good downtown.
Car show weekend.
Legacy Park. Yeah. That's a cool place just around the corner.
Yeah, nice little attractions in it. It's car show weekend. Of course, we'll be in Sterling.
We will be,
and
a long way away from the cars.
Yes, and by the time we get back, they'll be put up.
They would be.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. Hey, since we're talking about football and that. Seems like that maybe you've got some more players available to you this week.
We do. We happen to get a few more guys through the eligibility center. 4 or 5, I think, right now. Really key guys. So they've been practicing with us, and now it's just time for them to be able to get out and run some plays on real live on Saturday. So we're excited about that. Particularly helps our offensive depth. We had some key guys in our receiving core, and then also a very key defensive lineman that's going to be able to help us.
And speaking of defensive linemen, one that stood out for me in week 1, and is it Schumann or Schumann?
Schumann.
It is Schumann. Okay, so Aaron Schumann, he started out pretty well, made some big plays. He ended up with 11 tackles in week 1.
Definitely thought he could have been a defensive player of the week. type guy.
And I mean, you've got the right side of the line there, pretty stacked. Isaiah Veal and of course the name escapes me now.
Jacob Garcia.
Yeah, Jacob Garcia.
Yep.
Which is, and then you throw Schumann out there on the left side. You got a pretty stout front four there.
Yeah, they've been really playing well as we went through fall camp. Aaron played extremely well coming into the game against Southwestern, and he played well against Southwestern. So it'll be something that I think that people will take notice of him a little bit more, and so that might get him a little frustrated with things. You know, it's not having as easy as he did the first week of the season, where nobody even knew who he was on the opposing team. But I think he'll get some attention. But I think we can spread it out too. You know, being able to have the guys that we have on the interior, and then Isaiah Veal playing outside, and Bryce Sprung coming in and playing outside as well. I mean, we've got some guys that really I think are going to be pretty good and young. I mean, really, the only senior that we have in our defensive line that I can think off the top of my head is going to be Carlos Taylor. Otherwise, everybody's an underclassman. So.
And that definitely bodes well down the line. But I think, for being as young as they are and playing as well as they are, that bodes well for this year. But they're really going to have to be up to the task come Saturday, because this Sterling offense, it's they've got playmakers. Let's just put it that way, and it all starts with Cedric Phillips.
Yeah, they got their skill guys are highly skilled, and then I think they have a pretty salty group of offensive linemen that play with a lot of angst, I guess is one way of putting it. They play hard and they play to hit you for sure, which really opens up some things in their running game. The running back was one of the top rushers in the league over the last 2 weeks. Obviously, Cedric has been an All-American. And then they put Butler out at receiver, and he was a stud last year at running back. So they can do quite a few things.
Well, and it's kind of an option offense in a sense, but a lot of it, as we were talking about, it comes out of the pistol, so or the shotgun formation, really. And you've really got to be on your toes with your assignments. I mean, Cedric Phillips last week, 109 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. Then you had Savon Mitchell-Ford. He had 108 yards on the ground. So to me, it all starts with shutting down that run game between those two.
Yeah, it's over 200 yards between the two. I think Cedric threw for as many as he rushed for. So he rushed for 109. I think he threw for 109. I think it's obvious that we would like him to throw more than run. That sort of thing. But he's quite the playmaker. And again, really you go into a game, and if you're a defense, regardless of who you're playing, you got to make a team one-dimensional. You got to take away something. And generally what you try to do is take away the run, regardless of your playing. So, I mean, if we lined up against an air raid offense, we still want to make sure that we take care of the run and then try to limit what they can do in the passing game. If you can establish the run in most games, then you're going to do pretty well. So we need to be able to battle against that.
Well, and that I think is going to be key. But I mean, how do you go about trying to shut down those two players? Do you try to load the box? Do you change philosophies any?
No, I think you just have to be assignment sound. One thing, and limit the big plays that they can have. Every coach has their tendencies that they have that they'll get into. Particularly early in the season, there's a lot more smoke and mirrors that go on as the season goes on within plays, and so it's being able to watch film and gather tendencies, little tips, and then being assignment sound and limiting the big plays. If we can limit them under, keep them under 4 yards a rush, you're going to end up being okay. You just can't give up all of a sudden the 65-yard run or the play action pass, and that's what used to get us way back in the old days with Sterling when they ran the triple option is you would be rolling down trying to stop and run, and then they bang it over the top with a play action pass for a big gainer.
And that during week one was was some of the kinks need to be worked out, was big plays. In the 2 weeks since then, do you feel like that, especially in the secondary, that some things have been ironed out a little smoother?
I think so. I mean, I think it helps going against our receiving core and stuff. I think our receiving core is, pretty decent. They're still learning in a lot of places, and maybe not be as polished as we were last year at this point yet, because you get a guy that's played well like Darian Dillard had in our system. That makes a little bit of a difference, but that's the thing that we also had on offense. We made a lot of big plays, and so our offense is capable of doing that. So if our defense can kind of hold our offense down a little bit on that, I think that's going to help them when it comes to game day on Saturday. And we try to do a lot of things good on good to give them the game speed that they're going to be seeing. Even if it's not our offense, we'll run some things in order to make it look as much as we can like our stuff, so we can call it that way. But then give them what they're going to see in the game, and try to do it as fast as we can so they can see it in a live, as opposed to having a couple young guys go out there that barely know how to get lined up, let alone run the routes the way that the team that we're going to face runs routes.
Well, and tackling will be huge this week, and making sure swarming to the ball.
Yeah, it's a fundamental. It's going to be coming down to a fundamental game of blocking, tackling, and for us, it's running the football and playing pitch and catch. For them, it's going to be running the football, and hopefully we can limit their pitch and catch stuff. But it's going to be a fundamental football game, and that's every time that you play Sterling. That's what you're going to get into. That the kids are going to, for Sterling, are going to play extremely hard. They're going to go and run around everywhere. They're going to be loud on their sideline, trying to help their team. That whoever's not playing, they got 100 cheerleaders over there, basically, as part of their team out there, cheering on their guys. And then, the other thing is that those guys, they don't really care physically what happens to them. They're going to throw their bodies around.
They are. That's the one thing that I've always been surprised about with that team is it doesn't matter how undersized they are, no matter who was coaching, whether it was Lambert's or whoever, those guys were just going all out.
They do. They give 100% all the time. I mean, that is a distinct credit to what the culture that they've been able to establish down there. And it is one of those things that I look at, and that's the first thing that I tell our players when we meet. So it was last Sunday after we got done, or actually Monday when we got done with going over Southwestern. The first thing I told the entire team, I go, you're going to face a team that you have to bring as much energy, because they're going to bring a ton of energy, because that's all they do.
Well, and it's one of those teams that if they get on top of you early, it's hard to come back on, because not just for the fact of what they can do or score, but they can hang on to that ball and control that clock and grind a game.
Yeah, last year's game was two distinctly different styles going against each other. It got to the point where we just threw it all over the place, and they were rushing it. So they couldn't throw it, and we couldn't run it, and so we did our stuff, and it came down to the very last possession, 6 seconds left in the game, and that's the one. I'm prepared for that again this year. I mean, I told our guys tonight in 2009 when we won the conference championship for the first time, we had to win in Sterling, and we did it on a 2-point conversion.
One of the top plays, I'm sure, in the Kent Kessinger reign as head coach.
It was, and it was a Corey Schultz suggestion. Give the ball to Clarence Anderson. Heck of an idea, if you ask me. So,
and last year's win gave us one of the greatest all-time homer calls that you could ever have.
Yeah, it did. The death of the radio broadcast.
So hopefully we get a repeat.
That would be good. That would definitely be good.
We're going to take a break here. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about this Braves offense matching up with the Sterling defense. And since I did mention Homer Call, we're bringing, it's Homer Call week. So we begin the march to the Homer Call Championship tonight.
I can't. I'm waiting with bated breath.
Well, don't wait too much. It's kind of disappointing. But the best part is it is the best of the worst. And that's what I tend to bring you here with Homer Call. So stick around with that. We'll be back with you. You're listening to the Kent Kessinger, the Pizza Time Kent Kessinger Show here on 1220 and 103.7 FM KOFO and KOFO.com.
What it means to be an OU Brave is to be yourself. What I've learned here is I've created memories with friends, and I was actually really comfortable being in my own skin here. Everybody has their own personality, and we're all unique here, just trying to live significant lives. And I think I'm going to leave here with an imprint that will last forever and that I can hold on to and look back at and laugh at and see that I not only learned something, but I created friendships and memories that will always stick with me. That's what it means to be brave, to be yourself.
Be a Brave. Visit ottawa.edu.
Pizza Time at 208 South Main in historic downtown Ottawa is very proud to be a locally owned and operated part of the community. From supporting our schools and charities to backing our sports teams, Pizza Time has been serving the area in more than just pizza since 1985. Dine in, carry out, or free delivery. Remember, Pizza Time is here to continue to serve up the area's favorite pizza. Look us up and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or just call us at 242-TIME. You know what time it is? It's always Pizza Time.
It's late at night. You've been visiting family and you're on your way home. You didn't see the deer in front of you until it was too late. Everyone is safe. Your vehicle did its job and protected you. Now you get to find out if your auto insurance does the same. It will, because you have State Farm Auto Insurance through local agent Keith King in Ottawa.
I'm State Farm Insurance Agent Keith King. Let's work together to be sure your vehicle has the coverage you need. Call and schedule an appointment today at 242-9435. Stop by my office at 111 South Main in Ottawa or visit online at keithking.net.
Tired of opening your closet and never finding what you want to wear? We can help. Stitch Fix is a personal styling service that matches you with your own stylist. Someone who listens to what you love and delivers the best clothes for you right to your door. With Stitch Fix, you'll get to discover new styles, new brands, and new looks to fit your unique shape and your budget. Discover the stylist and styles that work for you at StitchFix.com. Personal styling for women, men, and kids. StitchFix.com. Personal styling for everybody.
Bust out your spinning chair, because the voice is back. And the competition has never been so fierce.
I am the king of the voice!
I am
gonna take you down!
Plus, this season, there's a wild card. Blake's better half, Gwen Stefani. Will she stand by her man, or will she become Blake's worst nightmare?
You wanna fight, Blakey? Why are you doing this to me? I thought you loved me!
All's fair in love and war on The Voice. Premiering Monday, September 23rd on NBC.
Johnny got a toy golf set when he was 3, and from that day on, he was hooked. All he wanted to do was golf, golf, golf. He'd be on the links before school, after school. All he ever wanted was to go pro. And then, one day, when he was holding his grandson and thinking about his 12 handicap, Johnny realized it just might not happen for him. But you know what did happen for him? He switched to Geico and saved a bunch of money on car insurance. So that was good, and so was hanging out with his grandson.
If you have frequent heartburn, take control of it with Prilosec OTC. Instead of stashing antacids everywhere, like in your junk drawer, buried under old batteries and hotel pens, or in your purse, hiding in the one pocket you won't check. You even have antacids on your nightstand, which are very hard to see in the dark. It's time you stopped stashing antacids and started taking Prilosec OTC. 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn.
It's possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days, not for immediate relief.
And we're back here on the Pizza Time Kent Kessinger Show on 1220 and 103.7 FM KOFO. We did pimp the Ottawa High game earlier.
Yep.
I want to let everybody know that we have the KOFO High School Football Game of the Week coming up on Friday night on KOFO.com. It'll be West Franklin taking on Linden, and you'll hear that at 7 o'clock, pregame at 6:50. And Luke Queen will have that for you on KOFO.com. And then we'll have our game. It'll be a 6 o'clock kick from Sterling, but it'll be the KCAC's only hour-long pregame show at 5 as we take you up to kickoff on Saturday from Sterling. So 5 o'clock kickoff for the Fusion Alley Ottawa University Braves pregame show, and then kickoff at 6 as I'll bring you all the action from Sterling, Kansas, if I'm still awake after the bus ride.
You will be. It'll be early enough.
Well, that's true. Plus, you guys do a good job of waking everybody up.
Try to.
So, yeah. So I try to pay attention to that.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
I feel like I'm part of the team sometimes.
You are.
You know.
You are. Key facet.
Although I think some of the people look at me like I'm just like some creepy guy that's just hanging around.
Who's this guy that's always in the bus?
I know. I think some of the coaches are looking at me like that. I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. I'm just the broadcaster. Leave me alone, man. So, what can you do? So the Sterling defense, we talked about the offense having a lot of athletes, but the Sterling defense, they have some athletes, including Kwame Sexton, who played very well against McPherson, but was also a Defensive Player of the Week in Week 1. And that's a guy that the Braves are going to have to be very mindful of on Saturday.
They have quite a few guys on defense that I think are very good. You know, they're, like I said, they're really pressure orientated. Their secondary does a really good job of playing good press man to man, and they're gonna create some problems for us. And so we've been practicing against a lot of press man. I think it's a lot easier to adjust from practicing against man to playing zone teams than it is to go from always practicing zone to man to man. So we're spending a little bit more time on that, and if we see as much as we think we're going to see, we should be well prepared for it. If we don't, then we'll probably be in a better spot for ourselves, when it comes to some of our pass routes. But it's going to be a lot of matchups and making plays. And it's one of those things that, our quarterback's got to be on, our receiver's going to have to be able to go up and get some balls and fight for some things. And if we do that, we could potentially create quite a few big plays. But again, that's the potential thing. That's always a scary word.
So when you take on a team that plays man-to-man, obviously making plays is the best way to beat it, but what can you do scheme-wise? What can you do to take on a defense like that?
Well, you try to get them out of their comfort zone. So the thing about playing man-to-man is they best get to the quarterback. So the number one thing starts with us is protection. How we're going to be able to protect the quarterback and at least scheme-wise make sure that we're in the right spot. There's some things that we do at times where we free release backs that we may keep them in, we may free release them. We try to keep them guessing on that, so they have to account for somebody for there. If you don't account for a back in your pass game, that can leave some people wide open. We try to do a lot of routes that will, kind of rub off of each other and that sort of thing, make them decide whether they're going to follow in man-to-man or they're going to pass off things. But then we've got so many different things that we can do in the passing game that I don't think you can practice everything. We don't practice everything every week either, so I don't think a defense can practice everything when it comes to that. And they're going off of one game, which I will tell you that some of our routes were correct and some of our routes weren't. I always like it when people practice things that we don't have. But yeah, so you're just going to have to do that and get matchups. Last year, that's what we did. We were on a muddy field, which then kind of negated some of the pass rush. So they played a little bit more zone, I think, than they wanted to do, and we were able to get some of our receivers open in spots.
Could we see maybe an extension of the run game with more passing plays involved with the running backs?
Well, we just try to get our backs as many touches as we can, so some of it's run game, some of it's, pass game. Ever since I started coordinating and calling plays, it was a number one objective to have as many people in your pass game and utilize them as you possibly can. So obviously you're not going to have your offensive line in that pass game, and your quarterback's got to throw it. So you got 5 other opportunities. I mean, we do a drill and practice called routes on air, and we have 5 quarterbacks throwing to 5 people that are in the routes always. So they may, a running back may check his protection, then he gets out in his route. He is a viable part of the passing game. And sometimes we'll have specific plays that are definitely designed to go to the running back, or to a slot, or to an outside receiver, and that sort of thing. So we want to take and maximize that as much as we can. So there's a little bit of the air raid in our style.
Air Coryell?
No, more Hal Mummy and Mike Leach than Air Coryell. Yeah.
You gotta like a little Mike Leach now and then.
Yeah, I do. Big fan. Big fan of him and the style of offense that they run at Washington State, for sure.
There is the potential for rain on Saturday as of right now as things stand. And as a matter of fact, while we're talking...
Grass field and rain.
The only grass field. Yeah, the only grass field left in the conference.
Oh, yeah, right, last year.
Is it something that you wouldn't mind seeing, maybe having some conditions like that to maybe take out some of that press coverage for them?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I think they're gonna run their stuff until the elements maybe say differently. I know for us, in the 2 weeks that we've been practicing now, well, by the time we get to this game on Saturday, out of 10 practices, we'll have practiced 7 times on grass. So I think we should be well versed at being able to put our foot in the ground and cut off of that. Now, it hasn't been a rainy field, but the swamp is mighty damp at times.
Well, I mean, I think it's below sea level.
I think so too. I don't doubt that.
So yeah, right now 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms during the day, and it picks up to 60%, but that may be mainly after the game's over. So it may not happen, but it is something to be mindful of.
I'm all right with rain. I'm all right with snow. I'm not a big fan of lightning, but...
Well, no, especially when you're on metal bleachers.
Well, and last week, I think it was, 2 weeks ago, when they played at Sterling, the game didn't get done till midnight.
Yeah, they had several.
Yeah, several rain delays and lightning delays.
So here's to that not happening this week.
Maybe I can get my in-laws to turn off the rain, by game time.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I'm good with it. Well, you're going to take our final break.
Okay.
We're going to take our final break now, because we're going to play Homer Call when we come back. We got to say hi to people too.
Right.
So we need to
start that off, and then we'll do Homer Call.
And then we'll do that when we come back. So we'll take our final break of the night. You're listening to the Pizza Time Kent Kessinger Show here on 1220 and 103.7 FM KOFO.
You got to the game late, and the only place to park turned out to be a little too close to foul territory. But you're not worried. In fact, you watch the rest of the game before you even go check the damage. How can you be so confident? Your auto insurance is with local State Farm agent Keith King. There's a reason State Farm is the largest auto insurer in the U.S.
I'm State Farm Insurance Agent Keith King. Let's work together to be sure your vehicle has the coverage you need. Call and schedule an appointment today at 242-9435. Stop by my office at 111 South Main in Ottawa, or visit online at keithking.net.
I came here to run cross country, and it ended up being way different than I thought it was going to be. It's unlike anything I've ever been a part of to be on the team. Everyone is so completely different. There are people you never thought you'd be friends with, nothing like your outside friends, but somehow you all click to be the same and have the same interests, but yet completely different. Everyone's always there for you. It's not just about running. Friendships and families, like they're your siblings when you're away from home. That's what it means to be a part of the Braves cross country and track team, to be a family.
Be a Brave. Visit ottawa.edu.
Pizza Time at 208 South Main in historic downtown Ottawa is very proud to be a locally owned and operated operated part of the community. From supporting our schools and charities to backing our sports teams, Pizza Time has been serving the area in more than just pizza since 1985. Dine in, carry out, or free delivery. Remember, Pizza Time is here to continue to serve up the area's favorite pizza. Look us up and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or just call us at 242-TIME. You know what time it is? It's always Pizza Time.
Bust out your spinning chair, because the voice is back. And the competition has never been so fierce.
I am the king of the voice.
I am gonna take you down.
Plus, this season, there's a wild card. Blake's better half, Gwen Stefani. Will she stand by her man, or will she become Blake's worst nightmare?
You wanna fight, Blakey?
Why are you doing this to me? I thought you loved me.
All's fair in love and war on The Voice. Premiering Monday, September 23rd on NBC.
If you have frequent heartburn, take control of it with Prilosec OTC. Instead of stashing antacids everywhere, like in your junk drawer, buried under old batteries and hotel pens, or in your purse, hiding in the one pocket you won't check. You even have antacids on your nightstand, which are very hard to see in the dark. It's time you stopped stashing antacids and started taking Prilosec OTC. 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn.
It's possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days, not for immediate relief.
Johnny got a toy golf set when he was 3, and from that day on, he was hooked. All he wanted to do was golf, golf, golf. He'd be on the links before school, after school. All he ever wanted was to go pro. And then, one day, when he was holding his grandson and thinking about his 12 handicap, Johnny realized it just might not happen for him. But you know what did happen for him? He switched to Geico and saved a bunch of money on car insurance. So that was good, and so was hanging out with his grandson.
Tired of opening your closet and never finding what you want to wear? We can help. Stitch Fix is a personal styling service that matches you with your own stylist. Someone who listens to what you love and delivers the best clothes for you right to your door. With Stitch Fix, you'll get to discover new styles, new brands, and new looks to fit your unique shape and your budget. Discover the stylists and styles that work for you at StitchFix.com. Personal styling for women, men, and kids. StitchFix.com. Personal styling for everybody.
Final segment of the Pizza Time Ken Kessinger Show here on 1220 and 103.7 FM. Reminder, Royals will be on later tonight, shortly after 9. They're out in Oakland. I'm going to be honest, I'll probably not be up to listen to it entirely. I got to go to bed.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Early to bed, early to rise.
Yes, and that makes me a boring man. Hey, we got to say hi to our Amy. I got to say hi to Amy. Got to say hi to the in-laws.
Yep, the in-laws. Bob and Corley listening. Pretty sure.
Got to say hi to Doris and Jim Grogan. My mom and my aunt.
Yes. I'm really missing them. You know, after they showed up, it's just...
Well, it was just proof that I did have a parent.
It's true. It's true. They weren't made up.
Yeah,
They were not made up relatives.
No, they were real. So
yeah, live and in person.
I'm gonna have to try to get them down here again. The toaster, the fax machine's no longer. Yeah, the modem. So, want to say thanks to Lars back at the station keeping us on the air. He's doing a fantastic job.
Handy he is.
Very handy. Want to say thanks to Shaden for keeping us going down here. He's helped out with making sure that the volume wasn't too loud.
That's true. Food ordering too. He's helped out a lot.
So good.
Amy says hi, by the way.
Yeah. Oh well. Hello, Amy. We got that out of the way. I still haven't hit my groove yet. We're into week 3, and I'm still just not. I'm not. There's something amiss. I'm trying to think of it.
I think you need more reps.
I think I do.
Yeah.
I think I do.
I think you should practice up-tempo broadcasting.
Well, I did that for the first few years, and then I had to be put on downers, apparently. So,
right.
So, yeah. But speaking of downers, it's time for Homer Call. And
this is always good. It's like my favorite segment at the end of the year once we put all of them together.
Oh, Homer Call. This is, if you're not familiar, this is where we look for the best of the worst in the conference to bring it to you so you can hear, and then we pick a winner. And then at the end of the year, we pick a season-long champion. So this is week 1 of the Homer Call tournament, and we're going to start out first with the Bethany game. And, yeah, we'll we'll just leave it at the Bethany game, and a little overly modulated sound, but let's go to cut one here and see what Coach Kessinger has to say.
St. Mary has Dallas Taylor back deep. Bethany punter is Darren Ritwage, a freshman, and they wing it way over his head. The ball bouncing free back at the 25. Ritwage somehow gets it away and angles the kick to the near side, and it takes a huge Bethany hop. A miraculous punt by Ritwage, the freshman, to pin it inside the 20 as it bounces out of bounds. St. Mary had cleared out, and the Spiders will start this series on their own 19-yard line.
I said that was a very impressive punt. A way to just kind of improvise on the run, just snap way over your head and just try to get it out of there.
A miraculous punt.
It was a miraculous punt because the snap went over his head.
Yeah, and he was able to field it, finally field it and get it away. Miraculous.
Miraculous.
Not like we don't see that on a regular basis.
So that was obviously St. Mary's.
That was Bethany's kick. Bethany's
kick.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So
that was a hard one.
Yes, and of course the sound was awful.
Yeah, it kind of got a little scratchy.
Yeah, they're very overly modulated. Sounds like a radio station you would hear from south of the border.
Okay.
So now let's go to cut 2 and Bethel and Avila.
So Asa already involved today in a couple of tackles. Esau, this flexbone offense, a chance to put another on the board here. Up by 1, trying to add to the lead. Under 5 to play in the first. Motion, Harrison, Esau keeps it, and Esau is in for a touchdown. Touchdown, Bethel. So Bethel takes the Avila fumble, the distance for the touchdown, and they now lead 13-6 with 4:46 to play in the first quarter. Well, it has been a high-scoring first quarter.
13-6 in the first quarter. It's a high scoring.
It's a lot of. It's a. The guy must do a lot of baseball. Because there was the pause for effect, the extended pause for effect.
And it was so pregnant of a pause it gave birth. That's how much of a pregnant pause that was.
All right.
Okay, so that was cut 2, and
Cut 2.
Now we go to cut 3.
Cut 3.
This
Of
is
3.
This
3 of
is
3, right?
This is out NPRing NPR.
Okay.
So let's go to cut 3.
So first down, just inside the 20. Blue Jays with the fresh set. Quick pass out. Tarper for touchdown. Nice play by the Blue Jays.
That was a great catch by Derek Harper, but what about the pass? You had the strong safety come down into the box, and Trey McGee threw it right over the top. The cornerback playing deep was not able to come over. You see number 8 right there. The safety come down and try to get a jam on him, and right there behind him, White was not able to come over from his quarters position.
How about that pass? That was a great pass into the end zone.
Yes.
Touchdown. Touchdown.
Wasn't a whole lot of excitement put into that. There was more excitement at the miraculous punt.
That was the home broadcast.
That was the whole broadcast.
That was the home broadcast. That was
Wow.
Tabor's crew.
Wow.
He takes it up the middle. He's to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown. Touchdown, Tabor.
That would have been hard to listen to.
Yeah. So, it's your call.
Oh, man. Homer call. I have a tendency to lean toward, when people pull things like miraculous or, the scoring. What was the scoring?
13-6. It was high scoring first quarter.
13-6, high scoring first quarter. I wish I could have heard the first one a little bit better.
Lars, can you cue it up one more time real quick?
I think we got the sound up a little bit better.
Do it. Let's do Bethany one more time.
Because it was out a little bit. We can.
Bethany punter is Darren Ritwage, a freshman, and they wing it way over his head. The ball bouncing free back at the 25. Ritwage somehow gets it away and angles the kick to the near side, and it takes a huge Bethany hop. A miraculous punt by Ritwage, the freshman, to pin it inside the 20 as it bounces out of bounds. St. Mary had cleared out. And the Spiders will start this series on their own 19-yard line.
I said that was a very impressive play. A way to just kind of improvise on the run is snap way over your head and just try to get it out of there.
So he's improvising.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to go with that one. I think I'm gonna have to go with it because I can't remember what the guy's actual name is, but it sounded like Winwinch.
Yes.
Winwinch.
So there we go. Bethany is the winner for week 1 for Homer Call. And we're just about out of time. We've got probably about 30 seconds, roughly. Real quick, final words.
The final words, key to this game is obviously we're going to have to do well in all 3 phases. But this is going to be a classic battle down in Sterling against Ottawa University against the Sterling Warriors. So catch us on the radio. If you can come to the game, come to the game. We'll be wearing gold because I don't want to get the new whites dirty.
And you'll hear it with the Fusion Alley Ottawa University Braves pregame show at 5. Kickoff is at 6. And we'll talk to you again a week from tonight from here at Pizza Time. You're listening to the Pizza Time Kent Kessinger Show on 1220 and 103.7 FM KOFO.
Celebrating 70 years of sports, information, and entertainment in East Central Kansas. KOFO, K279CS Ottawa, where keeping you informed comes first.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. After a day of contentious testimony featuring a former Trump campaign manager, the House Judiciary Committee's first official impeachment hearing has wrapped.
Corey Lewandowski refusing to answer most questions and at one point even appearing to try and kill time by asking for a copy of the Mueller report.
Could you read the exact language of the report so I don't have it available to me?
I don't think I need to do that, and I have limited time. Did you meet alone with the president on that date?
Congressman, I'd like you to refresh my memory by providing a copy of the report so I can follow along.
The 2 other witnesses who